Good to have you back, Brooks. So I've been thinking about Jesus lately.
Praise Jesus!
Because I couldn't do much more of that if he came back. But I was thinking about if he did come back, Jesus would fucking hate America right now. Can you imagine the Comic-Con lifestyle that is celebrity right now? All of his Sundays are just being booked at churches signing Bibles. And St. Peter, his agent, is just like, all right, we got the Baptist down the street. And he's just like, oh my God! I'm sorry, Dad. And regarding Jesus, we all think of, when I say Judas, what do you think of?
Priest.
I love that more of you think about Judas Priest than the betrayer of Jesus. I do too. But I was talking about the guy who apparently betrayed Jesus, and I was just thinking about like his legacy. Like we all refer to somebody who betrays us as a Judas, right? But let's be realistic about it. The guy Judas, the night he earned that title, all he did was tell the government where Jesus was. Now, the next day, let's say he hadn't done that. The government would have found him anyway because every newspaper is like, guy performs miracles at Jerusalem. Everybody's heading there anyway. If he had waited one day, Judas would have had a better relationship with all of us. We'd be looking at Judas as a hero. All I'm saying is praise Judas. Alright. So, this guy got a job for a few months that didn't allow him to be here, and it made me very upset every show that we put on that I could not say his name to present to you guys. But now, tonight, I bring you, as our closing comic of the evening, a returning performance from our very own member of the Comedy Square table, Farley!
You know, I thought it was bad enough being put up last. You know, getting to be the closer after 3 months of being off. Now I have to follow Ken getting his cherry popped. That's bad. How's everyone doing? 3 months off. I'm so glad to be back. So glad. But you know, over those 3 months, I've been able to rack up some material for you guys. Yeah. So like, I realized the other day that I've heard so many times how people say that, you know, like kids, they're like a sponge. They catch on to everything going on. They'll repeat anything. And I realized that my kid is the sham wow of kids. Like me and my wife the other day, we got into a heated argument, and we were in the kitchen, and I look at her and I'm like, you know, you're being a real bitch. And she goes, yeah, you're a pussy. And turns around and walks away. And I'm pretty positive my kid was not anywhere near that room. But 2 days later, I'm reading his bedtime story. And the last page on that book, there's a picture of a house, a dog, and a family. And I look at my son and I say, son, what do you see? And he goes, a bitch, a pussy, and 2 kids. No. That's a mom, a dad, a broken condom, and a failed experiment that was a Ziploc bag, duct tape, and vegetable oil. We ran out of condoms that night. See if he repeats that. So I come home a couple weeks ago, and I've been doing truck driving, so I've been gone a lot, and fuck that, I quit. So I come home one weekend, and my wife brings out this piece of paper, and she says, your son drew you a picture, and I'm like, oh. I look at the picture, and I look back up, and I'm like, for real? And she's like, yeah, and she turns around and walks away, and I look at my son, and I'm like, what is this? He goes, penis. Yeah, I get that. I'm like, honey, why did he draw me this? And she goes, it's a truck. No, it's missing the front wheels. That's a penis. She goes, you wouldn't draw that. I'm like, no, honey, this is a dick. So she walks back out of the room, and I look at my son, and I say, what is this? He goes, penis.
Yeah, we should try.
Really? And he goes, you dick. He's been listening to his mom way too much. Yeah. So recently, I also, within the last couple weeks, my sister and her boyfriend moved in with me, with us. Okay, they're both 17, and my sister is pregnant. No judging. You guys can wait a few seconds, and then you can start judging. I always had all these like hopes and aspirations for my sister that she was going to grow up to marry a doctor or a lawyer, because she's a few fries short of a Happy Meal. Fuck that. She's the hamburger, the fries, and the cookies missing from a Happy Meal. She's a fucking toy in a bag. She's a dipshit. But I realized the other day that all my hopes and dreams for her were shattered, kind of like that guy that went hunting with Dick Cheney. Like, you know, he was hoping for a really good day. Just got shot in the face. I took this little boy shopping, and we're going through the store, and he goes off to go get drinks, so I'm left standing there in the cereal aisle, which, by the way, is fat guy heaven. Because did you know that grocery stores, the cereal aisle is legit an entire aisle of cereal now? I'm standing there like, do I want the regular Puffs, or Cocoa Puffs, or Frosted Puffs, or Cocoa Frosted Puffs, or the Cocoa Frosted Puffs with a little bit of lard? I'm unsure. Well, he finally comes back, and I'm like, dude, what kind of cereal do you like? And he goes, I like Raisin Bran. Okay, that's easy enough. What are those little dried up grapes called?
The ball's too far away.
Are you serious?
Right two.
Yeah. Really? Oh shit. Raisin. I look at him, I'm like, do you need to get a helmet? And he goes, I don't ride a bike. I'm like, no, your kid's gonna fucking need one when it comes out. And it goes on, my little sister, like I said, she's only 6 weeks pregnant, so she's not even that far along, but she's playing it off. Like, you know, everything is, I'm pregnant. I mean, I walk in the house, you know, and I go to pour a glass of milk. Who drank all the fucking milk? I'm pregnant. Who used all the toilet paper? I'm pregnant. Who took a shit in the sink? I'm pregnant. It's fucking crazy. So we're sitting on the couch the other morning, and she looks at her boyfriend, and she goes, baby, will you get me a bowl of Rice Krispies? And she's like, yeah. He makes it to the doorway, and she goes, can you put a teaspoon of sugar on it? And legitimately, this boy stops, slowly turns, and says, I don't even know how much a teaspoon is. We waited a minute, and I'm like, dude, it's the small spoon. And he goes, I just thought it was called the little one and the big one. I really hold no judgment for the Augusta County school systems now. And I'm definitely thinking this child's gonna have issues. Yeah. So I was also talking to this little boy the other day. We got on the topic of wrestling, because my grandfather, before he passed, he was a really big wrestling fan. So we were talking, and he was like, yeah, I've been watching wrestling for years. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, since at least 2007. Really? That's definitely a long time. So I started naming off some of the old wrestlers, like, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Mr. Perfect, the $1 Million Man. He's like, I don't know any of those guys. No shit. He's like, but when I was a kid, I used to love wrestling. And I'm like, that kind of struck a nerve with me, because I really hate it when a teenager uses the phrase, when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I used to do this, or when I was a kid, I could eat anything and never gain a pound. No shit, asshole, because that was what, yesterday? Seriously. It's kind of like when an old person tells you, I can still drive, but they're explaining that to the officer on the scene of the accident where they just wrapped their car around the fucking telephone pole that came out of nowhere. Yeah, doesn't make any fucking sense. What the fuck does that say? Shit, hold on. Got it. Alright, so when I was a kid, I always had these hopes of growing up, and I wanted to be a cowboy when I was a kid. That was what I wanted to grow up to be. Because when you're a kid, you have dreams that are kind of out there. So, and then I grew up a little bit, and I started realizing the reality, and I'm like, fuck it, I want to be a gynecologist. But in reality, I'm a 28-year-old truck driver who wears a cowboy hat and has tunnel vision. I mean, that's kind of close, right? Yeah? Maybe not. So, I also got, I mean, within talking to this kid, I was realizing how much shit has changed since I was a kid. Like, all the TV shows that I used to watch when I was a kid that are canceled now, like Looney Tunes fucking got canceled for a while because it was too violent. Because Wile E. Coyote would fall off a cliff and, you know, he'd be perfectly fine, or he'd drop an anvil or a piano or blow up a rocket. In my opinion, he should just stop ordering shit from Acme. But, whatever. So, they canceled that. And what did they replace it with? I was watching TV with my son the other day, so that's what brought this up. Uncle Grandpa. I can't even explain that shit. Sanjay and Craig. A show about a little boy who has a pet snake that he talks to, who talks back, who also dresses like a little boy so he can go on dates with chicks. So this is what we've come to in America, is we've traded out violence for inbreeding and bestiality? I think that's a worthwhile trade. So, within also the TV shows, I got thinking about, all the things that were different when I was a kid. Like, safety is huge now. I mean, like, when I was a kid, I remember getting my first bike. It didn't have fucking training wheels. And we lived on a hill. And when I say we lived on a hill, our front yard, you could look down the road like this and see the main road. And I didn't get a helmet. And my parents realized that I couldn't ride my bike in the front on the road because I would go down to the main road and get hit by a dump truck. That's a fear. So they had me ride in the backyard, which went down like this. And it went down to a tool shed that went across the back of our yard. Not a lot of thought was put into this. So needless to say, I found out what our paint tasted like. Not very good. So then my parents upgraded me from a bike to a mini bike. And if no one knows what that is, it's a child's bike with a fucking motor on it. Yet again, still didn't get a helmet. Oh, and by the way, mini bikes have one brake. It's a little tiny handbrake right here, and if it breaks, you're fucked. You just keep going. So, within like the first 5 minutes of having this, I happened to find the one gopher hole that we had. Flipped over the handlebars, caught the rear tire to the front of my forehead right here. But no, it's okay, I still didn't need a helmet. Screw it. Parents standing over there. He's good. No, he's good. He's fine. I mean, he's not moving, but... Wait, he twitched. He's good. Oh, man. Thought we were going to pay off for a helmet. So then I got upgraded to a go-kart. Alright? Now I get a helmet for something that has a governor, which means it can't go over 10, 4 wheels, racing seat belts, and I'm pretty sure a roll cage that was designed by NASA. Yep, this is where I get a helmet, definitely. So that was that part. Terrible, right? So me and my wife, we were talking the other day about, some of the stuff we used to do as kids that we regret now. Like, I don't know, all the stupid shit that we used to do. Like, jumping off roofs into half-filled kiddie pools that we pushed a little bit too far away from the house so we never actually hit the pool. Or daring our friends to stick their tongues to frozen flagpoles. Maybe it's a good idea they canceled our shows. That's all I got tonight, guys. Thank you so much for having me back out.
Guys, keep it going for Farley. Alright, so that is the end of our individual comic segments, but we have 2 improv games. Are you guys up for those? Awesome. So the first game we're going to play is called Set List, and we're going to bring each comic up individually, and after they do their set, they're going to line up along the stage, and then we're going to do our last game called Hashtag Wars. Are you guys up for that? Alright, so I'm going to introduce our comics in order. Paige Campbell, are you still here?